It's perfect. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Titan Business Builders podcast. My name is Stefano Velez. I'm the founder of Titanology. And today we have as our guest Fernando Velez, the CEO, the founder, and the CEO of Kraven Magazine. Hey, Fernando, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be speaking with you today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for coming to our podcast. You have an amazing product. You have something that is not these days not that common, I would say, launching a printed magazine. That is already pretty special. But you have a whole story behind this magazine and how you created it. So let's first go back a little bit in time, Fernando, if you allow us, and run us through how you came up with the idea to create a magazine for our community, first of all.
Yeah, so I was 23. I'm 35 now. Um, and at that time, I was working in a hotel in South Beach in Miami, working as a server. And I was trying to figure out who I was and where I belong in the community, trying to find my own voice. So what I was doing the lunch break, covered the lunch break for the gift shop attendant. I would read magazines. One of the magazines that I was reading a lot, it was Oprah's magazine because it was such a powerful publication that empowered women, and not only one, but those that can read it, it can relate to you and it can help you as well. And I thought about our community needs something like this, something that can empower us, because often it was like full of ads of half naked people, half naked men, especially. And I felt like it wasn't my voice. It didn't represent me who I was. So I wanted to create something for the community that would give a voice, a strong voice, and bold content to all of us. So I will hide from my boss to start taking notes. I was a 23-year-old kid, super poor, um, no money, no computer, nothing at all to get started magazine. And I will hide, take notes, what I need, how do I will start. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, my English, it was completely broken back then.
Wow.
um, and my boss would tell me like, no, you go back to the floor, you're not opening a magazine, you're a server. And I'm like, I'm gonna open the magazine. Um, and every day I will work on it. I will have a little paper with my idea, and I will go after work door by door in every single business, trying to convince people to buy ads so I can print. And it took me about 3 months, but I did it. It was amazing. I got like two photographers. I got 60 models for the first editorial. I got, I used to, my boyfriend back then, he was at art school. So I was sneaking to the university so I can use the computers to design the magazine because I didn't even have a computer. And that's how Kraven Magazine was born. And I went back to the restaurant and I was so proud when I came back to bring print magazines to leave them at the hotel,
Yeah.
especially to that boss that told me like, you're not gonna open a magazine. And
Wow.
through life, I've been told many times that you can do something, and that only motivates me more and inspire me and give me that determination to prove people wrong. The, they can tell me what I'm capable of. I'm the one that can decide that.
Yeah, that's amazing actually. So to recap a little bit, you were 23 years old back then, working as a waiter in a restaurant, and you decided to start your own printed magazine. I mean, I'm pretty sure that many 23-year-old people that work in a restaurant never would come up with that kind of an idea, let alone actually do it. So it's really inspiring that you've made it work, but I guess that you already had some of the entrepreneurial mindset within you even before that. Do you feel that's true, or do you think like this is all a coincidence?
Oh yeah, that's true. Like when I was, I would say 20 or even younger, maybe no, actually I was like 17. I wrote my first movie script and I asked my mom for a credit card because I wanted to buy Hollywood use equipment for $500,000. So since little,
Okay.
I've been thinking about how can I open the business? How can I, especially Kraven, the name Kraven is being like, back then when I was 17, there was a program from the government where you present business ideas and they can choose you to give you business classes. So I submitted my application, I got accepted. The only problem was that I was too young to actually create the business. But that
Oh,
already gave me the insight of what would be to run a business. And that's since little I just love it. And like I have many ideas that I'm going to do.
amazing. So cool.
Yeah.
So that sparked your entrepreneurship for sure. And then when you were 23, you started your own magazine. Like you didn't even have a computer and you had to ask for friends to help you out with this. What was the first reception once you started to really show people that you actually had something?
Um well what do you mean when I actually printed? What was the reaction of people?
Yeah, yeah. What did they say? Like, oh, Fernando, this is yeah cute, but are you going to back to a normal job now, or what are you going to do with this?
No, I mean when I first printed the magazine, the reception was amazing. You know, the community supported me so much. A gay bar allowed me to cast in there. They throw a release party for the magazine. Um, Miami, there's a lot of luxury buildings, and often gay magazines wouldn't be allowed there because the explicitity, sexuality, or like
Yeah.
they didn't have that fine content. But if you were a gay business and you wanted to target this luxury building, the only way to go was with me because I was the only
Mm.
fine LGBTQ magazine to be allowed in this building. So that opened a lot of
Wow.
doors for me of the concept of just doing something different than everybody was doing with the magazine industry. And from there, I decided that that was my passion, and I wanted to take a nationwide, New York, LA, San Francisco. But yeah, my magazine was a challenge. I will say, I many business that they laugh at me when I came with just
Yeah.
one paper, but I think it's Lady Gaga, the one that said that you don't need 100 people to believe in you. You just need that one person. And I found a
100%.
couple of those people that paved the way for me to bring the magazine alive.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can only imagine how difficult it could be to do this indeed nationwide. But you also mentioned that you are a very creative person, and you not only created a magazine, you also created comic books.
Yes.
How did that work? How was that at the same time, or when did you start with that?
No, that happened about 8 years after I launched my first magazine. So when I
Ah,
launched my magazine, I was living in Miami, and I was so innocent, and I fell in love with a guy that lived in San Francisco. When he gave me the green light to move to San Francisco, I moved here, and he completely disappeared on me. So I felt like I
oh,
was destroyed, completely destroyed, emotionally drained, depressed. But I saw an opportunity to be reborn. And out of that depression, I said one day I got myself up and I said, you know what? No, I'm gonna bring my magazine here. I'm gonna release it again. And I went again door by door to every business. I went to LGBTQ network events. And 3 months later, I launched Kraven Magazine in San Francisco. And after a couple months, we took it nationwide after I got a new team. And one of my writers did an article about the misrepresentation of our community in the comic book industry. And that had me
mm,
really thinking that our community is full of heroes. We see them all the time, but we're not celebrated the way we should be. So I decided that it was time to change that, and that representation must come from and within the community, and not some big corporations going after our money. What I did not know it was that how difficult it was going to be to create a comic book.
mm.
I mean, it took me about 4 years to create a standard, and that's why I closed Kraven Magazine because I believe that it was so important to have such a representation in the comic book industry. So I decided to put a pause in Kraven Magazine to develop the comic book. And but I always knew that once the comic book was running smoothly, I was gonna bring back Kraven Magazine because it was my baby. It's my
Yeah,
first project, and it means a lot. Like it changed my life because I gave my life to to my dreams, and it really changed everything. So I
mm.
needed to bring it back.
So you went from having a magazine, which was your main source of income then, am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So you went from that towards building a comic book and you put a pause on the magazine.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not serial entrepreneurship, then I don't know what is. I mean, this is the same way as you would build a business and then just switch to another project and build that new business again from scratch. And you did that again. But the smart thing that I see here is that it's all under the Craven brand, right? So it's Craven Comics, it's Craven Magazine. So you also, in the questionnaire before the podcast, you also mentioned that Craven Comics is also a way to help people from Venezuela. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So my partner who works with me with the comic book, um, he is from Venezuela. So we used to help people from Venezuela because the situation was so difficult that people were eating out of the trash. So we used to send
Mm,
out the money, and his family will cook and will go around to give food to people. And eventually, we thought about we can be doing that all the time. We had to create something more sustainable. And at the
mhm,
same time, we were getting started with a comic book, and we decided that we should give chances to Latin people like ourselves, where it's so hard to find jobs in their country, give them an opportunity to live comfortable doing what they love, which is art. And not only that, but doing something more, so meaningful that is create representation for our community.
mm.
And that's how we started. So right now we have about 10 artists working in Venezuela, and we've been working together for 8 years. They're like family to us.
Yeah. So you're really changing lives already. Not,
Yeah, I always believe that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Um, I grew up. I had an older brother that died of cancer, and he spent a Christmas in the hospital. And my mom, when he died, my mom decided that every Christmas we would go give them toys to kids that are dying. So she taught me
Mm,
from little that we had the power to change people's life. My entrepreneur spirit and my creativity always have that's the core of who I am, which is how can I whatever I do, how can I impact people's life?
that's cool. Yeah, that's super powerful message, and I think this connects to what we within technology also want to bring to the world and to everybody in our community is changing people's lives through what we can do as business owners and using that for good. So yeah, thank you, Fernando, for doing this for our community, for the people out there. So tell us a little bit about the new launch of Kraven Magazine. What has changed since the last version? What is the most important thing?
There are two important things that I would say. One is that we used to cater to gay men because when I was young, um, I wasn't exposed to the entire community. And
Hmm.
now, as I grew older, that we learn about transgender, we learn about lesbian, we learn about our community. I decided that the Creme magazine have to be for everyone, to be a voice for everyone to feel represented. And that is what is so important for us to not just cater to gay men, but to everyone in our community. And the other second important thing is that in my own experience with the comic book, when I reach out to LGBTQ publications for them to talk about that we finally have representation in the comic book industry that comes within our community and not some big corporation, they often come back charging from $700 to $5,000. But then
Mm.
when Marvel and DC, these big corporations, make some character gay for marketing purpose, they talk about it for free. And that really hit me because magazines are supposed to be our voice. They're supposed to represent our community, empower
Yeah.
us. Instead, they were empowering and promoting a company that for 50 years never cared about giving representation to LGBTQ people. And they were giving us the back. They were like ignoring us and charging us.
Mm.
And I decided we need a publication that is about the community, that is about giving people chances to have an outlet to reach our community at no cost. I believe everybody have a chance. Like when the pandemic started, that it really affected us with the comic book. Two LGBTQ publications talk about us, and their feature article help us and pave the way to, right now we have 10 books, two different series, but it was thanks to them. So I
Mm.
know by firsthand experience the impact that these kind of articles can have in individuals like myself. And I want other people to have that kind of opportunity. I know publications have to make money and it's very difficult, but at least there should be one that can be practical, functional, entertaining, and at the same time offer that tool to our community. And that's where Kraven Magazine 2.0 is going to play an important role. And I'm thinking, I'm studying in the US and I'm thinking of taking it everywhere: UK, Spain, Australia,
Belgium.
yeah, Belgium, everywhere. Because I feel like it's very important. I think we do need it. We need an outlet for us in a
Mhm.
world where everybody just care about themselves, and where only hot people with hot bodies make it to these publications. There's a lot of
Yeah.
intellectual people that are left behind who are not represented, and it's these people who can actually make changes in our community with their ideas, with their innovations, with their talent and skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I can completely agree. So the magazine is for the whole of the community. So how can people interact with the magazine? Like if I have a business like technology or anybody else that has a business, how can we sign up for it or how can we get into the magazine? Is it difficult process or how does it work?
No, so right now what we do is we have a submission portal in our website where people answer some questions. We try to revise them every week, but sometimes we get too many that it takes us like about 2 weeks to go through all of them. I have an editorial team, which is my original team from Kraven Magazine, which is now part owners. I brought them back as part owners. Um, so we analyze who can we give the chances to. We take in consideration many things from the impact that your business have to if you have employees or LGBTQ, if you cater to LGBTQ. So we're trying to analyze all these factors. So wherever we choose, it can benefit the most from it.
Awesome, awesome, really good.
But they can apply in our
So
website.
so Fernando, I'm just thinking like we are doing this for the LGBTQ plus community. We know that building something like this is important for our community, but being part of the LGBTQ plus community is not always as easy, right? Even building just a magazine, you also mentioned that it's sometimes very difficult to connect with our community even online or to reach the community with something like this, like a magazine that's so important. Why do you think that is?
Um, I believe because publications have um like right now I feel like I don't read other publications because most of them, they don't represent me, they don't empower me. And I feel people when think about magazine, they don't think about a powerful tool that we are creating. So we need to like re-educate people about what kind of magazine we're doing, so they can welcome us and open the magazine and welcome them to their life. Because yeah, I think the perceptions on magazine for this long has been so different. Like when I pick up Oprah's
Mm,
magazine, I feel like, wow, why don't we have something like this? I will read something like this, so I'm powerful, something that makes me feel like I belong. that there's other people like me. Instead, I would read magazines that would make me feel less. Where, oh, look at that body, how it looks. Oh my God, look at this perfect life, and it didn't give me any tool of me. How can I become like that? How can I make my life better? So I feel like, often people say, oh, magazines are dying, and I don't think magazines are dying. I think it's like the concept that has been around for so long is dying. It's time for a new mentality and a new way of doing publications. And I think little by little we are going to bring more people in, and we're gonna be the number one LGBTQ publication. We're gonna bring people together and connect our community. And this is just like one project from after these take off. I mean, I have many ideas that will impact the community. For example, as we grow and the magazine start making more income, I would like to invest in LGBTQ businesses. Or if you're struggling or if you need resources, I can invest with whatever profit we make from it. We can invest in another business, and like that, we trying to help everyone have a fair chance, a fair shot of becoming successful. I feel like we all need to work together. There's no way we can do this, we can be successful without each other. We live in a collective universe that we depend from each other. And for so long we haven't been working together in the entrepreneur side. And that's the reason I feel like there's not that many entrepreneur LGBTQ individuals. So I really
Mm.
want to change that and empower the community for everybody to pursue their dreams and their careers.
Well, it's definitely a very good goal to have, and it's something that relates to us, right? Because we, with technology, we really also want to do the same and help people in our community build strong businesses. And it's funny that you say that you don't see that many LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs in the space. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's still not that common that people from our community start or have businesses?
Um, that's a really great question. I think there's a lot of different factors. One, you have to be too because of being LGBTQ. You kind of you don't have that many open doors like heterosexual people have in
Mm,
the business industry, and I think also our mentality hasn't been focused in being entrepreneurs. Maybe because we've been focused too much fighting for rights. Or whether it's resources. I just think it's a lot of factors. But at least now we see more, like for example, the LGBTQ chambers of commerce of each city. They're trying to empower and promote business. For like, I went to a network event, and thanks to that event, LGBTQ network event, I was able to get off the ground Kraven Magazine. So
mm,
there are now more resources and people are opening more, but also the generations are different. Many people in the LGBT community like to go out, drink, have fun, and they don't think about the future. They don't think about their impact that they can have in the community. But as generation change, so is the entrepreneur generation is changing. It's coming. There's a lot more people who, especially after the pandemic, there's a lot more LGBTQ individuals who are looking to become entrepreneurs, and I think
yeah,
that's a great opportunity now um, to jump in, to give that push to them, to motivate them and inspire them. And this is why, like the magazine, I want to have incredible articles that can empower people to be the best version of yourself, that can motivate you to pursue your career and give you an outlet to reach your community and know what they think and connect. It's very important.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree as well that COVID will have changed for a lot of people. It's basically also why I started technology because of COVID. So I'm a perfect example of that. So Fernando, what is the future bringing for Kraven Magazine and Kraven Comics for the next few months? How does it look like?
So right now, we are working with a producer to try to sell the comic book as a live action TV show. Also, while we're talking with a Sony Picture producer to see the opportunity to do animate with the comic book, and we have a whole franchise. So right now we have two series, but at the end it's gonna be about 15 different series within the same universe with all kind of characters that represent everyday people, LGBTQ. Um, for the magazine, we're starting in the US, but as we launch here, we're hoping to expand by the end of the year to the UK and Spain. I'm from Puerto Rico, so I always been fascinated with Spain. And for me, I want to that's one of my personal goals is to make the magazine in Spanish. and and after that, we have Kraven has a lot of different ideas. For me, Kraven is my signature. Um, and it's gonna be one of many different projects that we're gonna be doing under Craven, from studios to clothing line. I mean, what I want to is I feel like when power falls in the right hands, a lot of good things can happen, and I want to make sure that our community has the power. In other words,
Those are good words. Those are definitely good things to say. Well, I'm very excited to see what happens with Craven Magazine in the next few months. Definitely going to keep an eye on that. Now, if people want to know more about this, where can they go, Fernando?
they can go to our website at credomagazine.com where we share our story. For example, for me, it's very important about teamwork and to always, bring your people. So when I decided to bring back Kraven Magazine 2.0, I decided to bring back the regional team as part owners. So you can read
Mm,
about that story there. And where we're going next and how you can help people and apply if you know anyone. I wanna be able to give chances to as many people. Right now the magazine is gonna be for every 3 months, but as we get more submissions and we organize more volumes, we're hoping to be launching every month rather than every 3 months. That way we can expand our reach and give more chances to people a year. We're trying to feature about 30 individuals per issue, so imagine we can do that every month. We're talking about a lot of people that we're gonna be touching and giving
absolutely.
chances.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah. Good to see that this exists. And if people want to know more, just go to cravenmagazine.com for all the information. And you're also doing Kickstarters, right? For the
Yeah, that's
comics
it.
and for Craven Magazine. All this information is on cravenmagazine.com. Now, Fernando, I want to already thank you for your time. But before we head out, I have one more question, which I always ask at the end of every episode. Fernando, what does success mean to you?
I don't measure success by how much one can make, but by how many life one can impact. That's the way my mom and my dad raised me, and that's the way I measure success. It's not how much I have in my bank, but how many life can I change? That's the way I measure success. That's success for me. And if we can all think about that a little bit, I think we can make a better world and give more opportunities to everybody.
Absolutely. And that's the best way to end this episode of the Titan Business Builders podcast. Fernando, thank you again for your time and for your information and knowledge and inspiration with Craven Magazine. I wish you all the best. And for sure, we're going to keep in touch. And in a few months, we will come back to you as well and have another chat about how Craven Magazine is doing.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much, Fernando.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
I'll see you. Everybody, thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.